Yes, it's MaryroseONeill. I am from Toronto, Canada. I'm a mother and a grandmother, as well as a freelance editor and writer. And I noticed first in this section the combination of the two elements in its title. So we have both the means of implementation and the global partnership. The challenge for the United Nations, in light of the agenda's 17 goals and 169 targets, is going to be to establish and maintain that global partnership in order to implement, coordinate, and track all of these goals and targets. The agenda writers clearly recognize that challenge. Their partners are the 193 nations at very different levels of development and of capability, not only for implementing the agenda, but also for monitoring progress and for communicating their challenges and achievements. One thing I found rather curious in this section of the agenda is that the writers don't talk much about the fact that this global partnership includes the over 7 billion people of this world. It's not just national governments and national and international organizations that need to be part of the implementation and the tracking. To quote the opening words of the UN Charter, we, the peoples of the United Nations, all of us ordinary people, are going to need to be partners too. Excuse me. Of course, I realize that the UN works with governments and organizations, and that the global partnership starts with those larger entities. With so many agencies, UN divisions, governmental and other organizations involved, the balancing act, national and international, is going to be very challenging. The writers also focus on the interconnection among all the elements of their agenda. That very interconnectedness is going to make both implementing and monitoring progress formidable. On the one hand, the fact that 193 countries are involved demonstrates the need for a partnership and for a commitment to that partnership. On the other hand, each of those nations has its own actual circumstances and priorities, governments, and infrastructures. The agenda writers go into considerable detail about the various parties that must be involved in this partnership if it is to succeed, linking those parties to the ideas of both implementation and the need for a global partnership. For example, the business sectors, the international trade sectors, debt sustainability, especially for developing nations, and science and technology. In the final section of the agenda, the writers detail what they call the robust, voluntary, effective, participatory, transparent, and integrated follow-up and review processes and the principles on which those processes are based. All well and good, but I wonder how the results of their monitoring will be communicated to the public. I'm thinking here especially of the young, and Phyllis just spoke to us about one aspect of this. So especially of the young, grade school, high school.
You want me to sit at the table?
And I'm sorry? I'll continue. I'm thinking here especially of the young, grade school, high school, and university students around the world. Communicating with this audience will have to be very carefully prepared with full appreciation of the purpose the communication is to serve and the audience it is intended for. Engaging young people will be necessary, but also very challenging, especially with the complexity of this agenda, its goals and its targets, the various forums and departments that are involved, and of course, the 193 member countries and the 7 billion people in those countries. Thank you.